Hello YouTube, Mewtwo here with another package and pickups video, and it's following fairly close on the heels of my last one, in which I said, oh, there probably won't be any package and pickups video for a while, as if it was designed to make a liar out of myself. Just after I finished recording that, I ended up doing a couple of trades and purchases with some YouTube and forum members, and the first of which is this World Cup '94 for the Sega Master System. Interestingly, this was a YouTube auction I had been watching and completely forgot to bid on. And the person who won the auction was a fellow called Barney on the Sega 8-bit forums. And when he got the item, he realised he already had it. So he said, "Oh, look, because I already have it, first person to offer me a tenner for the game gets it." Now, ordinarily, a tenner for a sports game would be, kind of pricey, but World Cup '94 isn't the most common game on the system by any means, and as you can just see in the corner there, this is the limited UK edition of the game, and it's all complete. The box needs a little clean, but other than that, it's fine. And what makes it limited is the fact that it has two manuals. The first one is the ordinary manual, and the second one is this kind of souvenir brochure about the World Cup, I think. Oh no, that looks like the ordinary manual. Yeah, finals, basically World Cup information and the sorts. I wasn't even going to go for the special editions, as I already have a copy of World Cup '94 for the Sega Master System. But this copy here is actually the Australian release, as you can just see the G rating for the game. So it was one of the late releases, and you can make it out there. It's a silver release, which is kind of like another form of re-releases, I think, for the system. So the cartridge is in silver, the box is in silver, and whatnot. I remember I picked this up a while back, and I picked it up in a double pack with Power Strike 2. Pretty tricky to get game, Power Strike, so I picked up the Australian version. And at the time, I got the two of them shipped to Ireland for €80, which is fairly good going, given that Power Strike alone I've seen go for over 150 sterling. So what's that, nearly the better part of 200 quid or €200 when you include shipping. So to get that in was pretty cool. But when Barney had a pretty good offer on the souvenir edition, I figured, what the hell, I'll pick it up. And the next package has literally just arrived in today, and it's from I think it's safe to say, a fairly well-known YouTuber known as Xfile2708, or Marcus, and I've just popped off the top to make it easier to get out. Although maybe not easy enough to get it out one-handed on camera. Oh, maybe I should have made more of a chop. So I traded him a couple of games. I seen he had videos for Stuff for Trade, and I had Stuff for Trade in my videos. So I contacted him, and we spoke about a couple of games. I had initially, looked for Master System games, but he had other Sega stuff, and being a Sega fan, I picked out a couple of games. One of them being Manx Superbike TT for the Sega Saturn. Now, what's notable about this game, at least for me, is that this is my very first Sega Saturn game, and I don't even have a system. Of course, I think that really highlights the collector nature in me. I mean, to buy games for a system that I probably won't get for a while, and it's in real nice condition. There we go, all complete, really nice manual. Supports the steering wheel too, if I ever happen to get one, which would be pretty cool actually. That's really nice actually. But I always thought I might get a Sega Saturn. I mean, after going from a Sega Master System to a Sega Mega Drive, it kind of made sense. Surely my next generation console is going to be a Sega Saturn. But I ended up playing Super Mario 64 and just had to have an N64 instead. So the Saturn kind of fell by the wayside, as I suppose did Sega. I have to say, these boxes are quite unusual. They're quite tall, and they don't really feel like they clasp, although it does clasp fine. So, very strange. But anyway, I was really happy to get that one through, because even though I didn't get a Sega Saturn, I did get a few Sega Saturn magazines. In my mind, it was in preparation for when I would eventually get a Saturn when I was younger. And I remember Manx CT catching my eye as one of the kind of great racing games for the system, on a system that's known for it. You Daytona USA, Sega Rally. So even though I've never had this system, this has always stuck in my mind as, I'd like to pick up that game at some point. So it was great to be able to do a trade with Marcus and pick up this along with. Hopefully this will come out fairly handy, or not. Well, certainly a lot of bubble wrap in here. I can feel it all. Oh, there we go. And upside down. And a Mega CD game, Sherlock Holmes. And no, not a game that I suppose I'd be leaping out to play by any means, but I don't have too many games for my Mega CD, a system I do actually own this time. But I've always liked the books, Sherlock Holmes. I think it's a really great character, and you see a lot of the elements of the character in a lot of modern shows today. Shows like House and CSI. Those characters, particularly House, is basically a modern Sherlock Holmes. The kind of personality fault, and then the kind of genius mind and the execution to solve problems is Sherlock Holmes to a T. And again, I believe this is complete. Oh, if I can get it open, which I can't. Oh no. Oh, that's unfortunate. The box must have kind of got it donked in transit. Well, at least these ones are. The Mega CD games are standard compact disc, double disc, so hopefully I'll be able to replace that. But apparently this came from Chips. We don't have Chips in Ireland, so I've heard of them a few times, but it's not exactly something I could ever visit. And there's the manual. I believe it's a text adventure game, so actually I probably will give it a spin at some point. I'll probably try it out to see how kind of faithful it adapts the books into a game. And then on the other side, of course, is the CD, Sherlock Holmes Consultant Detective. And it must have done fairly well, given that there was it definitely at least a volume 2 of the game. So, people must have bought it in reasonable quantities. I suppose an early CD title, I'm guessing it has lots of data on the disc, either textual information, encyclopedia, or video or voice clips or something. Probably was one of those, we got a CD drive, and what are we going to do with it? We can put video clips, we can put, all this nonsense. But nevertheless, it would have been a novel experience to have for your Mega CD back in the day. And then finally, if I just move these out of the way, I'll move that out of the way too. Not really a package or a pickup, but the latest issue of Retro Gamer arrived in the post. And for once, the mail did not totally banjax this copy. I don't know, do other people have this issue? It's probably more where I live, but every single month the spine of my Retro Gamer is ripped to shreds, or the other side, or both, or it's bent to bits. It's just irritating. Oh, it makes me so angry. But anyway, this issue, ironically, is in fairly good condition, and it's an issue that probably, for the first time in ages, doesn't have a huge number of articles that appeals to me. And not that I won't enjoy it. There's stuff on Game Boy Advance games, and that looks like Mario and Luigi there, and something on Atari Corp. So I'm sure that'll be pretty cool. And I find the new Obscura Machina feature that they've been doing fairly that's that's a cool feature, because it's always interesting to hear about these these obscure and unusual machines in retro gaming. I mean, everyone knows about the NES and the Segas and the Nintendos and the Sonys, and the same stories get told over and over again. So it's kind of just refreshing to hear about something fairly kind of off the beaten track, and that's really where Retro Gamer excels. It's not just regurgitating the same stuff you've always heard. So it's absolutely a great read. Even though, like I said, there's not maybe a great deal in this particular issue that appeals to me off the bat, it's certainly something that I'm sure I'll enjoy reading whenever I get down to it. And of course, whenever I get down to it is the big question, because I have a tendency to leave them sit there and build up a backlog, and by the time I actually read it, it's nearly retro itself. I know I'm about 8 or 9 months behind now on whatever issue I'm reading, probably something like February of this year, and it's now, we're nearly in October. Fairly cool picture of Mortal Kombat there. So, anyway, that's Retro Gamer, and of course, I pick up from Barney on the forums, which, again, thanks to him for sending that on and doing a very fair price on it. He actually charged a little less than the auction ended too, so I mean, you can't say fairer than that. And of course, thanks to Xfile2708 for sending on those 2 games. It was great to start my Saturn collection. Maybe unusual to start it without a console, but I'm sure I'll get there eventually. And I'm actually curious to try this out, to see just how they translated Sherlock Holmes into a game. So I would say, I'm not too sure about pickups. Maybe it'll be a while, but I shouldn't say that, because knowing me, then I'll end up doing a pickup video, in a few days' time. So I'll just say until next time.